So you've built a great offer, you've launched it probably more than once, but you're still wondering why isn't this selling? It's not your topic or your passion. You have some testimonials and screenshots that show what you do is worth it and works. But the truth is, most course creators and experts overlook these 3 buyer beliefs that make or break why people actually will buy from you today. And if these aren't addressed on your sales page, in your emails, in your posts, there's nothing that you can do to help overcome and have them say yes. These are inherent beliefs that if we're not addressing them through how we're communicating our offer and on our sales page and emails, that people are going to leave. So let's not have that happen to you by finding out more of these beliefs and what we can do about it and where they should be addressed on your sales page so you understand where to begin. Let's dive in. Okay, let's talk about buyer beliefs. Think of them as unspoken objections that your page emails related to your offer is meant to reframe and show them evidence for in your visuals and your copy. So if you've done any form of personal development, anything like that, this is the thing that you need to know and why I recommend it the most. If you've done any type of personal development, you might hear the phrase, your thoughts create your life. And that is true, but the same happens for purchase. So I have this little graphic here. If you want to get this entire document, that's Google Doc for free. It's just been going over everything. You can find it down below. But I created this because I was trying to convey what happens for a lot of people when they go to a section on a sales page for the what you get section. I had this as a former course of mine that I think is just a really great visual to show how people naturally go through and think about certain sections on the sales page. So if you want to check out that, I'll put that down below. But I wanted to give you an example that we can breeze by for a second because I want to give you more of the actual how. So the thing about it is that your potential customers and students' life has been colored by a lot of experiences that are used to inform purchase decisions. So let's say they've had a course where they bought a course and they just didn't like it. The course they invest a lot in and didn't get a good result from. Now that thought's going to pop up that courses don't work for me. If it happens a couple times for them, which it does happen a couple times for a lot of people, then it becomes the I can't get a result from courses. And this is very simplified, and there's a lot more buyer science and buyer psychology that goes into how our lizard brain works and all this kind of stuff. But I wanted to go over the main 3 that really inform why people will buy or not. And the issue is you're not going to be able to have your people actually say it out loud because most of them don't know. A lot of this is unconscious or even something that they're not even fully aware of themselves. So you as the guide, as a person trying to be the solution, actually to address and resolve these and not in a just let me list everything all at once kind of way. The 3 main beliefs that your sales page and emails need to have. The first one is, do they believe in you? And this is something that I feel like a lot of people are kind of used to thinking about or hearing, where it's like, help them believe in you by showing more case studies or showing more XYZ. And there's some of these questions that maybe you might have heard your people say, or you've had someone tell you you need to work on. It's like, can I trust this person? Do they have similar values as me? Do they have results and testimonials? And the bottom 2 are a little bit more actionable. To trust someone takes a little bit of time, right? And to trust someone takes specific type of time and content and exposure to be able to get them to believe in you. And it's why a lot of people will do ads or a lot of posts all at once during launches, because you're trying to get them to really understand and show not just your story, but create this entire narrative of why you're the best person to help them. And what happens a lot of the time is we're used to doing the results and testimonials, and this could kind of run into belief number 3. But to create trust with someone, it's not just going to be throwing them a lot of how-to content or giving all your life story all at once. There has to be an actual conversation that happens on your sales page, in your emails, in your funnel, on your content to create that trust. Because if you think about it, do you trust someone when you first meet them? Maybe if you've had time to talk to them before you see them. Some people just have a really great vibe, and it's very rare. For most people, they need time to warm up to you, gauge if you're the right person for them. That is something that is hard to convey if you don't know where to look or how to show it on your sales page. So I'm going to show you where normally people talk about this a lot on the sales page and where it comes up for buyer data when you're looking at all of your stuff. So this is a client of mine sales page. She gave me permission to use this and show it. This is the after, so I can't really show you the before. If you want to see her before, it's actually going to be in the description below or in the case study we have on her sales page upgrade. But for right now, what I want to show you is what did I put on here to help with the do I believe you? So she was selling, or she still is, selling something that is a 1-year program to help people create a more content-powered business, basically helping people learn how to blog and have a blog sales funnel. It is really good. She over-delivers, and she's had a lot of people in it. It shows the value of it, but we still have to worry about, like, do they believe in her? She has done something where she has always shown up very authentically. So she's had a lot of Instagram stories. She's open about her mental health for certain pieces. She does a lot of YouTube videos. She does have an innate trust level, but still with things like this, you have to show them that you understand them. So when I'm looking at how do I convey this belief, it's not going to be a one and done thing. It's not going to be, oh, I'm just going to add this section and they're going to trust someone immediately, right? It is building a story. It is building a narrative on the sales page, on the emails to help them really believe that. One of the ways you can do that is through case studies. I helped her create custom case studies and testimonials based on what her people mentioned. I gave her an entire copy and paste template she could use, and some great stuff came from it. If you want to hear more about that in the video, I talk about it there. I give the entire template also in my Fix My Sales Page bootcamp, because y'all don't know how to create good testimonials and case studies because we're not taught it. All I want to do is help people who have good products and have good hearts sell more of their offer by people understanding how powerful their offer is. And something that is, and I can go on an entire rant about that, but one of the ways we show that beyond the case studies is we actually changed up her bio. She loves a minimalist side of the design, and we love that for her. So before this, just talked about like going to law school, but now I'm here traveling, that kind of stuff. And now we have it focused and expanded more on how she actually grew, gave a little bit more context, and also made sure to expand more of the results that she got for her people. There's, again, even more stuff on here. But the thing that is really important that is both a believing in you and believing in the product. Something I love to do, and I also have this in my Fix My Sales Page bootcamp, which is the nuance section, where it's like we have to dispel the too good to be true side. And this, again, kind of like dabbles into the do you believe in this product, but for something that is a big promise, which is be able to create like full-time income with less than 20 hours a week, is a pretty big promise. And it's something that we've heard a lot in the online space. We have to ground it and make sure that people who read this, especially if they've already tried this before, which her people range from both beginners to advanced, how to address that objection that's going to be like, I don't know if I trust you because you're saying a very specific big promise. So we have to call it out and give an actual nuance section showing that we understand the eye roll. I should probably call it the eye roll section because that's kind of what it is. But it's just explaining, I understand that this seems too good to be true, and making the case for why this promise is still relevant right now. For her, especially blogging, anything like Pinterest, email, a lot of topics that are more like techie rather than sexy need sometimes a little bit more explanation, especially on why they're still relevant right now. Because we heard a lot of blogging, obviously, in the early 2000s. We heard about email that came up, especially during the time too, Pinterest as well. A lot of my clients have topics like that they truly are evergreen, but in the cultural zeitgeist that we're in, they feel very heavy. So I have to help her people understand that blogging is not dead. It's actually changed and made it even easier for you. And here's how we do that. That's an easy way to build more of that trust, because you're saying what people normally don't, which is like, I get you're probably super skeptical, and here's what we're going to do to help you out with that. And also her mascot is her dog, and I love that. So that's one of the easiest ways that I find is helpful for that. But it's not just one element. This section can help out, especially if your business model and your brand voice is about being real, being authentic, being genuine, or if you have more skeptical buyers, this can be really helpful. This is just showing you a snapshot on what is my first thought whenever I think about beliefs. This is the first belief, and how to actually help yourself do that. Again, I talk about that more in the bootcamp, but for now, I'm going to move on to belief number 2, which is believing themselves and like that they can actually do it. Because if we go up to the beginning of this document, then you heard me say, like, will I actually follow through on this? Does this work for me? Those questions are going to be running in their mind, especially if they are more advanced, skeptical, or even just like anxious or emotional buyers. I mentioned this in a previous video that there's like 4 main buyer types, and your audience has all of them, but there's usually 1 or 2 that are like your main buyer types. So knowing that allows you to begin to see, okay, how can I better shift my messaging and my communication of my offer to help them out? So when we're talking about believing in themselves, they can do it. This is going to be so important with the testimonial, with the case studies. So the reason why I say that is because believing they can do it means that they need to see people who are like them in their before. Often when we create testimonials and we have our people give us the testimonials, they focus a lot on the after, the results, which are amazing, right? Like losing 20 pounds or having a great business. But the people who are currently wanting to buy your offer haven't experienced that yet. So it feels too good to be true. And again, a lot of this is belief, you can tell. A lot of this is belief work and helping them with their objections that are kind of going on in their brain during this. So one of the easiest ways you can do that when it's believing that they can do it is, number 1, adding more examples of the thoughts and feelings that your people had before. So for Kara, we had a couple of questions in there that helped build on that, because a lot of people too who are on the after just forget. They forget what it was like to be on the before, because once you run a mile and once you run 10 miles and 100 miles, you don't really remember how hard it was or what your brain was going through during the first mile, because we're past it. And it's because our brains can't hold that level of information or memory that long. So knowing that, we made sure to include actual phrasing and language that focused on the before so they could see it. I knew enough to know I was missing critical information. It felt overwhelming trying to teach myself and figure it out alone. And all of this are things that her people already are saying in the other feedback forms she's getting. But having it straight up say it and then being able to show more of the after with it makes people say, oh, okay, so someone else had these exact thoughts like me, then maybe I can do this. Another way that can really help out is by showing them that they can. And this is something that Nina is putting on her page, I think at some point soon, or she tested it out for the launch. I can't remember. It's putting an exit pop-up of your first action steps. This can be really beneficial if you, again, are having also more people who are unsure of the price point. Like right now, this one's $2,500, or if it's more of a skeptical buyer who's already been burned before. Having an exit pop-up, so like when I scroll out of here, a pop-up can trigger that gives them something free from the course. So for her, we saw one of her pieces of buyer data. She has like 30 custom ChatGPTs in there. She is phenomenal at it. One of the things we saw was you can see how many people are actually using your ChatGPT. And one of our biggest ones was around topic clusters. And it's a one-time thing that people do. It can help them get started. It's not like a continuous thing. It was a really popular one to use that she could give away without it feeling like it's giving too much away. If you can find something like that, you'll see how often people do like giving the first module, the first chapter free. Some people need that type of buy-in based on their buyer type to feel comfortable and believe they can actually do it, because you gave them the next step, a quick win to begin. The third one is in the actual product. Belief is worth the price. Do I really need this? This is more of showing the priority. And again, this is something that is harder to show on an after sales page, but in buyer data, it means the actual promise that's giving is either too good to be true or it feels super vague. A lot of people can justify the price if they believe it can actually help solve their problem or get them to like a bigger solution, versus if it's just like, oh, I'm just going to help you tie your shoes, you're probably not going to spend $100 on a course telling you to buy your shoes. So it's things like that where small messaging shifts really play a factor into it. And I really need this now is not something you can always combat, because people have genuine reasons why they can't do it or why something comes up, like a family loss or something like that. But for people who are just not giving a better reason, let's say they put in the DMs like, oh, I just don't know if I really need this right now, giving kind of like vague answers, that's showing you they don't see the true value of your offer and the priority it actually is in their life to solve. And that is something that we really need to focus on a lot on the sales page and in your emails to make sure it's not getting lost. Because a lot of people, and I say this often to my clients, where a lot of the reasons why people won't buy because we're not communicating the true value of your offer. That gets lost a lot in your modules. Like so many people have amazing things in their modules that they forget that's there. That can be a really great angle. For Nina, there's things in her Facebook group, in her testimonials, heat maps. All of these things can help give you better ways to explain the true value of what you do so they can see the priority it is in their life. Because that is the biggest thing here, is making sure that they understand the true value of your offer. So when you can do that and the true transformation that it provides, you can put any price on anything. As long as you can really show that for your people and it's the right buyer and they have the right awareness level, you're good. So I just want to confirm here too that buyer beliefs are specific, but there are more buyer beliefs specific to other courses and programs, like I mentioned with the whole techie not sexy type of courses. These are main ones that almost every type of sales page needs to overcome, and really any type of buyer decision needs to overcome. This can be applied to anything, but since I work a lot with people who are course creators, coaches, authors, so I can't give you everything all at once to change, because one, you'd be super overwhelmed and I wouldn't want to fire hose you with information, but also it's going to depend based off of what your people need. I did mention the part around making your sales page more like a story arc based on their awareness level, and making sure to add sections that are going to matter for your specific offer, like again with the eye rolling type of section. And I talk about this even more and give you actual frameworks and steps to use in the Fix My Sales Page Bootcamp. But to begin, just starting to figure out if you can comb through your data, even put it in ChatGPT, put in all your transcripts, your DMs, the call stuff you have, and see what is the main thoughts they're having, and ask ChatGPT which of these beliefs is the biggest thing that's coming up, and it can give you a place to start. But if you want me to create a free quiz that actually helps you identify that for yourself, let me know, because it's not going to be that hard for me to create, but I'm also trying not to create too many more things that people aren't going to use, because we don't need more stuff to add to our inbox graveyard. So if you want that, just type down quiz below so that I know, and I'll see you in the next video.